For people that don't know, Bwipo has now made remarks about women in competitive gaming and has then been served with a suspension from FlyQuest. We're going to get into everything that ended up happening, but the first thing that's most important is let's watch the clip. This is what Bwipo said on women and competitive games.
It's her birthday? Wait, is it actually? Well, I think there's just not enough support for female pro players and female, like, basically...
Agreed.
Like, women's anatomy and their monthly cycles are extremely different from males, and there's no proper support system for women to go through what they're going through when it comes to competition, in my opinion, at least. And I think a lot of people, like, even men that play this game, just tilt out of their mind.
Bro, even men get emotional, so imagine how bad it is for women when they're on their periods. That's his argument.
When they play League of Legends. So when a woman is on the wrong part of the month to play in competitively, right? I mean, there's a time in the month where you should not be fun.
Do you think that Riot should make women type in their cycles when they log into their League of Legends account so that they can just be banned for like the 4 or 5 days of the month that they end up being on their periods? Would that be a solution?
Fucking playing competitive games as a woman, in my opinion. This is my experience having lived with one a while. She played a lot of League Ranked. It was just like, it was really obvious when she was just getting super irritated at every little thing. And that's not trying to be sexist or anything, it's just the way it was.
I mean, it is just sexist. Also, like, okay, so now when we talk about this from a real perspective, women are able to do much more important and complicated jobs than being a competitive gamer, right? Like, for example, my mother's a lawyer. She has to stand trial at times as like an expert. She's used as a expert witness. I guess I shouldn't say stand trial, but she's used as an expert witness in trials when it comes to things in her field. She's a trusted state tax attorney. If she was going to be overly emotional during part of the month, then she would not be able to have a job like that. She would not be able to then testify because people will fucking go to jail and their whole lives will be ruined if she says the wrong things. Like, women are able to be doctors, women are able to be in the military. Like, there's so many jobs that women have where you don't just say, oh, well, 5 days out of the month, you're like not able to do things. And when it comes to competitive gaming, like, my take on this is that there's a bunch of things that make it so that women do not, number one, want to be competitive gamers in League of Legends, and also just get beaten down at a bunch of different opportunities. So if you start from just like the beginning, right? Women are not encouraged to play games as much as men are encouraged to play games, right? Like, this is just how society is, right? As a result, there are way less women that play competitive video games. Like, if you looked at ranked numbers, there's way less women that play in ranked than men, percentage-wise. So if then you go and you think about what percentage of those players become high rated, there's an even smaller amount of women that are actually even attempting to go pro. And then that doesn't even include how people treat women in games. Like, everyone knows that if you're a woman and you use a mic in a game, somebody's going to harass you. Like, it just is what it is. If you use your mic in a game, somebody's probably going to say some up shit. People think it's funny, whatever. And I can speak on this, and this is something that Azael alluded to. I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same situation where teams have not accepted women who are good enough to go into tier 1 on the basis of they thought that it would be like a potential issue for them to live in like a gaming house. Like, will that change the team dynamic? Like, are they going to end up like in a situation where players like, you know, end up treating them poorly or something? Like, is this going to be an issue? And there's been women that have been good enough to play in tier 1 that literally just get denied purely on the basis that they're a woman. It's like, we think that if you join our team, it's going to like disrupt everything, and we don't like trust the players to be mature enough to treat you normally in this type of environment. Like, this has literally just happened before in esports. So there's like a bunch of reasons why women are competitive gamers, but it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that they have periods. Like, women are able to do jobs that are obviously much more important. And like, what I would ask Bwipo is, do you think that women should just like not be doctors then, for example? Because the medical field is obviously a field that women excel in, right? I mean, if you think that they can't be competitive gamers 5 times out of the month, like, what does that mean about like them being a doctor and like giving you feedback on your fucking health and controlling what medicine you take? Like, I just would wonder, what jobs does he think women should have if they're not able to be competitive gamers because of the fact they have periods, you know?
I think understanding, like, this is not a good time right now to, you know, actually just get up and grind. This is a time for me to relax and, you know, maybe do a bit more VOD reviewing, maybe do a bit more, you know, looking at the game. Maybe have a different account entirely to play when they're going through that.
This guy just said women should have a period account. That's his honest take, is that women should have a period account. They're going to be so much worse and more emotional at the game during their periods that they need to have a period account, or that could be a solution. Like, it's actually such an insane take. I mean, the weird thing is, like, I'll be charitable to Bwipo here. I honestly don't believe that Bwipo is trying to be sexist. Like, I think in Bwipo's mind, and I could be wrong about this, right? This is just how, from what I know about him as a person, I think in his mind, he's trying to be empathetic and, like, helpful to the situation and provide, like, good solutions, whatever, you know? Like, that's how he's thinking, but he doesn't realize that what he's saying is actually, like, ridiculously fucked up, and it's, like, super demeaning, you know? Yeah, there's a bunch of women that work at esports that have other jobs. Like, you have some of the esports talents that are considered some of the best ever are, you know, Shox and Lore. They're both women. They both go through this. You can't tell, like, if they're never underperforming because of it on camera. Like, they're able to do their jobs as well or even better than any man in the industry. So it's just like, it's such like I don't even know if I want to call it outdated. It's like uneducated take. It's just an ignorant take. But I actually don't believe that Bwipo actually has, like, malice here. I think this is what he legitimately thinks, and he's trying to be helpful.
I think these can be solutions in order to make it a much more fair playing field. And I think ultimately the problem with this is,
I'm just trying to think about, like, what would happen if, like, I was playing a game with Rachel and then I just was like, oh, you're playing a little bit worse today. You on your period? Like, if I said that to her, yeah, that would be the end of my streaming career. I would not make it to the next stream.
Competition isn't going to schedule around your period or schedule around, you know, weeks in the month where you're...
Competition is not going to schedule around your period. I mean, what does he think, like, happens in women's sports? Does he think that, like, when women are competing in, like, basketball, it's, like, determined by who's on their period and not? Does he think that, like, in the WNBA finals, it's like, yeah, I mean, you know, okay, like, this year we get Asia Wilson versus Caitlin Clark, but it was Caitlin Clark's time of the month in games 2 and 3, so that put them at a disadvantage. But then Asia Wilson's time came in games 4 and 5, and obviously, you know, that was the backbreaker for the aces or whatever. You know, like, it's so crazy to think about this being, like, such a ridiculous hindrance to performance that they, like, cannot even be in the field.
Just, you don't have as much room to be competitive, basically. Because I don't think it's not possible. I just think it's much harder.
I mean, there's so many things that I want to say. Also, I get it. Like, Bwipo's probably watched my stream a lot, and he knows that I'm just, like, a very unemotional person. You know, I'm somebody who's even keel. You know, that's what they always say about your boy Dom here. They're like, he's even keel, measured takes. You know, some guy who is just a picture of stoicism. But men can be emotional too, and I think that's the problem that Bwipo doesn't realize. Like, some would say that Bwipo is pretty emotional to deal with. So yeah,
that's my experience. I could be wrong, but I think it's pretty apt because ultimately this is the truth in all sports and all like mental sports, that is. Like, even if you look at chess, for example. I think they do a better job in those games, but I think definitely when it comes to esports, it's something that isn't even talked about. Like, people don't even consider this, you know what I mean? Cassiopeia top lane? No, it's
I feel like that's such a great end to the clip. It's like, Cassiopeia top lane? What the Cassiopeia. So yeah. So Bwipo went on stream and said this. This is from 5 days ago. Bwipo's obviously had 1 million. This is why also you don't want to start like if you're somebody like Bwipo who just says a bunch of bullshit, like, doesn't really think before they speak. I mean, even here, like, I think he actually thought before he spoke. I think he's actually misguided. Like, this is a situation where I don't think that, like, Bwipo should be never allowed to play pro play again, but I do actually think he needs education on the topic. You know, like, it does seem like it comes from more of a place of ignorance than malice in this situation. I do think that Bwipo does say things with malice. Like, obviously, that's how I viewed the Dokla situation, the C9 KBBQ situation. I thought he was just saying that to put other people down. But I don't think that that's what he's trying to do here. I do genuinely believe that this is ignorance and it's dangerous, obviously, to say this in front of thousands of people, because you're also dealing with a space where there's a lot of people that want to be sexist in the League of Legends space. So if you say things like this, it validates them in a way. But I mean, it is an extremely fucked up thing to say, and there should be some level of punishment. That being said, FlyQuest has decided to punish Bwipo, but did they really? Right? Because I like the tweet, but do I really like it? Not really. Recently, Bwipo made sexist comments that are antithetical to FlyQuest core values. Every day, we try to make the gaming space better, and that includes helping anyone with a passion for competition reach the highest possible levels of play. That's why we're so proud of the Red program, which is their female program that they have. Like FlyQuest Red, I think they actually had a pretty successful or like good CSGO team. Or CS2, I don't know. I think CS team, I should say. Our work to elevate diverse and undeserved communities are underserved. Not undeserved, underserved communities, big distinction there, across gaming. Comments that might discourage even one young woman from pursuing her dream of becoming a pro player harm the future of esports. Absolutely. And we take that very seriously. While our first impulse is to educate, when clearly ignorant comments like this are made, accountability is also core value of our organization. As a result, we'll be suspending Bwipo from play for the next series in the LTA playoffs and donating his event prize money to causes that support women in gaming. Okay, so this is a slap on the wrist for stuff like this. This is a complete slap on the wrist. Why? Well, if you know how the format works, if you know how like the LTA format works, the section that they're at of the tournament is the regional championship, right? FlyQuest is playing versus a Brazilian team, which they assume that they'll be able to beat with Gakos in round 2. Even if they lose, they still are already pre-qualified for Worlds, and they have double elimination. So they only need to win 2 out of 3 best of 5s in order to win North America, right? So this is like nothing. Also, the prize money, this is extremely small for a tournament. Like, you got to remember, it's 80,000 split with coaches and players, like 6-7 ways, plus there's a percentage, like 10K or whatever it's going to end up being to a player like Bwipo, who has a solid 6-digit salary, is almost nothing. So it's not really a punishment that, you know, is going to harm the team. Like, they want to pretend like they're taking a big stance, but they're not actually taking a big stance at all when it comes to what, you know, the team's future looks like. And obviously they're doing that because they don't want to punish the other players, and this is always the hard thing with punishments like that. This being said, I've got fucking punished by Riot absurdly. Like, when I made the fucking doing nails in lane comment, like, they just like took me the out, bro. They took me out back. They put 2 in the back of my head and we're lucky that it just missed the brain somehow. Like, that's all it was. I mean, normally the standard that they set for comments like this is like big suspensions. So I don't know. Riot is always all over the place with stuff like this. Like, they're always all over the place. It's like, before they were giving year-long suspensions from competitive play. You know, nowadays it's like there's literally been players that have said racist things on stream and have got like 3-game suspensions. You know, obviously there was a famous situation with On Fleek where he said the only good Chinese is a dead Chinese, and he got like 3 games or something like that. So I never know how Riot's going to deal with this, but the suspension should come from Riot and not FlyQuest. You know, like, FlyQuest is obviously going to do things that make them look good without damaging the team as much as possible. And since they already have a sub top laner, they think that, hey, we could probably win round 1 without Bwipo. But I mean, even if he was suspended for the whole LTA championship here, does that really matter? You know, like, does that actually matter? They've already qualified for Worlds. If he just like doesn't play 2-3 best of 5s, whatever, and then they go into Swiss with like a slightly worse seeding, but they're still there, like, that's not an actual punishment. A punishment is generally where you actually have, like, you sacrifice things that matter to you. Like, you are prevented from doing things that hurt. Like, you have to sit there and watch your career die in real time, in my case, twice, right? And then have to work back from something. So I'm not saying that he needs to be suspended as long as I was suspended, right? I've got 2 year-long suspensions. One of them they reduced to 7 months. It was supposed to be a year, but they reduced it to 7 months because of great behavior by me. Definitely not an unjust punishment for saying doing nails in lane in a solo queue game. But yeah, I mean, it it is what it is. This is a situation where Bwipo just can't stop talking. I would hate to be on FlyQuest side because they try so hard to like dance around things, and they're like, oh, the like Dokla situation, they're memeing like KBBQ. Bro, they can't even meme about this shit. They can't meme about this shit. They're like, bro, why does this guy keep on talking? What did Bwipo say this time, you know? It's got to be insane dealing with this type of guy. But I think the worst part about this is just yesterday, Bwipo went live and he talked about the fact that he actually doesn't have any of these like mental illnesses, which was one of the main defenses that people were like, you know, giving Bwipo the credit for. They were like, hey, he's just mentally ill. That's what it is. It doesn't have anything to do with like, you know, his actual viewpoints. Like he's just manic, whatever. Like this is what, and then he went on stream. He's like, no, I'm not manic right now. I had a 4-day like hypomanic episode in Worlds. So that's all that was. And yeah, I'm all good. So, hey, lost that defense as well. So, I mean, this guy is just, he is ruining his career in real time. Was one somebody like, it's so easy to be liked when you're winning, you know? So it's so crazy to me that Bwipo has done so much damage to his career while simultaneously winning a championship. Normally, you can say whatever the you want when you win a championship, and like most of it's gonna fly. If you're like, oh, like if you punch down in an interview, you're like, oh, we're just the best in the region. These other teams don't work as hard as us. Whatever. Like even if you say shit like that, when you win, people are going to try to be charitable to you because you won. But he is self-destructing in real time while winning a championship. It is actually crazy. So, yep, that is what Bwipo has decided to do.